What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about if we're going to get a Superman game announcement at DC Fandom. So this is just completely speculation. This is just going to be me going off of my own thoughts. I have nothing to go based off of, right? We will maybe address the leaks that have come out in the past on Superman to try and build a case. But in all honesty, okay, this DC Fandom, it's going to be huge, right? We've talked about that several times, right? Obviously regarding a lot of different things. And I mentioned this even in the last video talking about DC Fandom. If there was ever a time to do this Superman thing, okay, it would be at DC Fandom. Look, as time has gone on, I really don't believe the whole Xbox exclusive Superman thing. I know people are maybe kind of falling into that, maybe because of the rumor of Warner Bros. With Microsoft. At the end of the day, if Microsoft does buy, okay, Warner Bros. Games, they get they work out a contract or they work out whatever, right, to get the licenses. Could they make an exclusive Superman game? Absolutely. But as of right now, Warner Bros. Games making the games that they're making, right? Would they be making a Superman game, exclusively for the Xbox, or even like Xbox Series X? I just don't think that's going to happen. I didn't believe that rumor or that leak a while ago. I still don't believe it now. With that being said, does that mean that there is no Superman game going on? Well, time and time again, we've heard that there is one, right? Now, again, the one big one was saying that it's an Xbox exclusive, okay? That's really, we've heard it before, even before that there was a game, but that was the first big one that people said, okay, well, not only is there a game in development, but it's also exclusive. Since that point, there's really only been that one other time, like a month or so ago, where that editor of that one website, right, he said, like, hey, don't be surprised if we see a Superman game over the next 1 to 2 years. So, again, does that mean, when he says see the Superman game, does that mean we're going to be able to play it in 1 to 2 years, like that's when it's going to release, or does that mean that it's an early development, we're not going to see it for 1 to 2 years, like they'll announce it, in a couple of years, and then we'll play it, a few years after that. Again, that's up to you to decide. Obviously, we can all make our own decisions, our own opinions on that, right? But Superman obviously would be pretty darn cool to have. We know that the Batman game, obviously by Warner Bros. Montreal, right, that's going to be kicking off the DC universe, that we're going to have probably, most likely, a Suicide Squad game from Rocksteady. So again, if there was ever a time to do this, I mean, now would be the time. Now, a question I would even pose is, could it be the second Warner Bros. Montreal game? Now, I've never, I'm not saying I'm guaranteeing this is going to happen, but what I would like to have happened, and what I really would like one day to be true, right, like if I'm just randomly right about something, would be I would like the second Warner Bros. Montreal game to be a Wonder Woman game. We know they were working on one. We know they canceled it. I would like to think that maybe they went back to it at some point, and that's the second game they're working on. Now, again, that's kind of me, like, trying to will it into existence. You ever heard that, that phrase? That's me trying to, like, will it into existence. I don't know if that'll happen. In fact, it's very possible that it doesn't happen. But you got to think, okay, with a Superman game, especially a DC Fandom, it means that there's already a developer working on it. So Warner Bros. Montreal, they're out. They can't be working on it. They could be working on it again as the second game, but if we're trying to say, okay, well, could this be a DC Fandom, it would have to be a company or development team's number one priority. So this obviously is not Warner Bros. Montreal's primary, goal, primary game they're making, so they couldn't be doing it. Rocksteady, obviously, they couldn't be doing it. However, I would say Suicide Squad has been heavily leaked, heavily rumored. Technically, it's not going to be true until it's true, right? You know what I mean? It's not going to be true until they confirm it themselves. However, there's been enough at this point that I'd be willing to say it's pretty likely it's a Suicide Squad game. Could there be another studio, right? That's what we've talked about for the longest time. Monolith, are they working on the third Middle-earth game, or are they working on a Superman game? Their job postings kind of suggest mainly Middle-earth. You can make an argument for Superman, but more than likely, the job and the description of what they're going to be doing does definitely sound like an open world Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War kind of game. Okay, so I don't think it's Monolith. I think it's possible. I think they're ones that I would maybe trust to do it, but they're not. I just don't think at the end of the day they're the ones doing it. Look, so at DC Fandom, it's going to be massive, right? We're going to get movies, we're going to get TV shows, we're going to get comics, we're going to get cosplays, we're going to get games, all this kind of stuff. Again, if there was ever a time to do it, it would be a DC Fandom. They'd be passing up, or like if it's in the making right now and it's not a DC Fandom, would they be waiting for like Gamescom 5 days later? Would they be waiting for the Game Awards with Jeff Keighley? Look, at this point, I love Jeff Keighley. He seems like an absolutely great guy, right? I'd love to meet him one day. The work he's put in for the gaming industry can probably never be paid back. Like, he's a very passionate guy, right? At the end of the day, the game awards, his kind of stuff, they don't always show the biggest things in the world. Now, they have in the past, but it's very, it's not very consistent. It's very inconsistent. So relying on him to be able to do it, I think is just not a good move, right? So basically we're left with, if there is a Superman game, and that's kind of where I land on it, if a Superman game is being developed, I think we would see it at DC Fandom. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's kind of like I'm copying out of the answer, right? Where it's like, okay, will it be at DC Fandom? If a Superman game exists, I think it would be. Because, again, I don't think you'd pass it up. When else would you announce it? You can announce it on your own, which we've talked about before, right? And we've said that with Batman. We said that with Rocksteady's game. None of these games need a convention, a conference, a gathering to be able to do it. But when you have something like this, everybody under the sun has said Batman is happening here, okay? You don't pass up this opportunity. You don't let this opportunity go by, right? So do you do it? I think the answer is yes. So if there is a Superman game being made, as long as it's not like as long as they didn't start it like 2 months ago, right? And again, we've heard leaks about this for quite a while. I don't remember when like the first big one with the Xbox exclusivity thing happened, but you got to imagine, I would say my prediction is if it is being made, it's had to have been made for at least like a year or two. And even, you look at Microsoft Games Showcase, they showed a lot of games. Not all of them are even a representation of what the final product is going to be. I said that for State of Decay 3. I'm not the biggest fan of State of Decay at all. And when they showed that trailer, it was like, oh my God, looks really awesome. It looks really cool. Then they said State of Decay. It's like, oh, all right, well, it lost my interest. But what did we find out literally the day after? It's in early development. So they've pretty much got nothing to show us. They made that CG trailer, right? And again, it's not a representation of what we're going to get. So what am I trying to get at? Well, even if they've only been making a Superman game for a year or so, they could throw together some sort of CG trailer. You know what I mean? So again, if it's not at DC Fandom, I would put the brakes on a Superman game for quite a while. Maybe if they don't show it, I would more or less go in line with that guy recently who said, we'll see it over the next year or two. You know what I mean? Now, again, he could be implying that maybe we'll see it very soon, and then maybe we'll be able to play it in a year. Maybe it'll be a fall 2021 game or a spring 2022 game. You know what I mean? That could very well happen, but if it's not at DC Fandom, I think we can read into that. If you want to still believe him at that point, I think you can read into that and say, okay, maybe he was talking about they're going to announce it in a couple years, like it's just flat out not ready. So again, I think if the game is real, I think it should appear at DC Fandom. Now, again, my expectation, I'm not going in expecting it at all. In my mind, there's two pillars, gaming-wise, that are going to be at DC Fandom, and it's the Batman game, and it's Rocksteady's Suicide Squad game. Those are the games I'm expecting. God help them if one of them isn't there, or if both of them isn't there, right? Or if they have like a lackluster showing there, right? God help them. But I do think they're both going to be there. I think they're going to both be fine. Again, I'm only expecting those two games. If we get a third game, if we get a fourth game, if Warner Bros. Montreal comes out there and says, hey, we're feeling like we're in a really good mood today, and we're not only going to show you Batman, but we're going to show you our second game. We're going to talk about our second game too. I mean, holy God, right? That would be absolutely incredible. I don't think it's a one game at a time kind of thing. I think we'll see Batman. I think we'll see Rocksteady's game. If we see Superman, fantastic. I am not expecting it in the slightest. With that being said, with a lot of things I do say on this channel, just because I'm not expecting it, just because I don't think it's going to happen, doesn't mean it can't, right? Obviously, it very well could. And honestly, if it does, because we've already had this discussion, because I just talked about it, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, I'd be like, wow, I'm gladly surprised that they managed to do it. But it wouldn't be like, holy God, I did not see this coming. Like nobody saw this coming. No, I mean, we probably could have seen it coming. We have seen it coming. If anything, we're kind of just lowering our expectations so that we won't be disappointed. You know what I mean? So, guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think there's a Superman game coming? Do you think we would see it at DC Fandom? What do you think's going on? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up, and I hope to see you all on the next video.